wrestling fans. My name is Brian Crazy. You are watching the F and brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com. Thanks for tuning in once again. I am back with my TNA Impact Wrestling review for August 16, 2012. It was a pretty good night on Impact, and it really set up towards next week's Open Fight Night. We got to find out that next week will, in fact, be Open Fight Night. Hulk Hogan will make his return to the Impact Wrestling Zone, and Sting called out the Aces and Eights. They accepted his challenge, and that will start off next week's TNA's Impact Wrestling at 8 o'clock. So we start off the show with a recap of last week's Impact, the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view, and the situation that is going on with the Aces and Eights over the last few weeks. Then we see Austin Aries comes out. He cuts a promo, and then all the major players end up coming out. Basically, they're all cutting promos on one another, all talking about the situation with the Aces and Eights, and all continuing with the theme that they honestly believe that James Storm is behind all of this. Like I've said in the past few weeks, this is the classic WCW swerve. They're blaming one guy when at the end of the day, it's going to end up being somebody that you totally did not expect. And during this big promo, they're interrupted by the Aces and Eights, who promise something huge later in the night. I did like this opening segment. I thought it was pretty well done. It really did set up later in the night quite well. Then we go into the first Bound for the Glory Series match. We saw Samoa Joe pick up the win over Magnus. Not too much to report here. It was a quick match. There was some solid in-ring competition between these two. But in a quick match like this, you really don't get to develop too much of a story. But Joe did pick up the win over Magnus. Then we went to AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels, which was the exact opposite. This was candidate for match of the night. This was a phenomenal contest. But anytime that AJ Styles gets into the ring with Christopher Daniels, you know it's going to be an instant classic. There was some great work by both of these men in this match, and I do have to say, this is just setting up the next phase, the next part of the Claire Lynch, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels storyline. After this match, Robert Roode came out, he cut a promo, and during the promo, he ends up dropping the mic and walking away. Very similar to what we saw in James Storm earlier this year. Then we go into Knockouts title action. Madison Rayne, who is the defending Knockouts champion, goes one-on-one against Miss Tessmacher. We end up getting a new Knockouts champion in Miss Tessmacher after she picks up the win over Madison Rayne. Earlier in the night, Brooke Hogan, who was the vice president of the Knockouts division, ended up coming out. She ended up banning Earl Hebner for being the referee in any future Knockouts matches. And she made a huge announcement that there would be a special guest referee in tonight's Knockouts match. That turned out to be none other than Taryn Terrell, who used to perform in the WWE as Tiffany. She made her Impact Wrestling debut tonight. Then we go into the main event, Hardy versus Bully Ray. Jeff Hardy ended up picking up the win over Bully Ray after two members of the Aces and Eights ran in. This is when all the troops came out to make the save. Sting, Kurt Angle, a few other guys. And then we see Hardy hit the twist of fate for the win. Post-match, Storm and Ray had some words. Storm went for the last call super kick. He ended up hitting Hardy. He went to hit Bully Ray. And then the Aces and Eights came out, and it looked like they were praising James Storm, but they ended up attacking him. So like I said, it was the classic WCW swerve. Everybody thought that it was James Storm. They were making it seem like it was James Storm, and in fact, all along, it had nothing to do with James Storm. He was just a pawn in this whole storyline, in this whole Aces and Eights master plan. I thought it was a pretty good night on Impact. I would have liked to see a little bit more wrestling, but I really see what they were doing. With all the promo segments and everything that they were doing, they were setting up the next month in storylines. And you guys got to remember, it's sports entertainment. It's not just about the wrestling anymore. It's about the wrestling and the entertainment factor that it can provide. Not that I don't think the professional wrestling could carry the show, and it can be very interesting with longer matches. But if there's no story behind those matches, if there's no build behind the matches, then you don't have any investment. You're not interested. If you don't want to see a guy get his ass kicked, to be quite frank with you, a lot of people don't want to see the match. I mean, there's a reason that there's bad guys and good guys, and there's a reason professional wrestling storylines have been set up like that for so long. Now in 2012, it's not so easy to set up a good guy versus a bad guy. There's kind of a gray area in between, and we're finding a lot of superstars falling into that gray area. But I did enjoy tonight's episode of Impact, and I hope you guys enjoyed my quick review. Please drop your comments below, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. For the F and brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com, my name is Brian Crazy. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you later.